My dear students, today we are discussing about the demand and supply analysis session 3. In the session 1 we discussed about the types of elasticities. In the session 2 we discussed about the demand. In the session 3 we are discussed about the demand forecasting. As per JNTUH syllabus, then what is the syllabus for the demand forecasting? The demand forecasting, characteristics of good demand forecasting, steps in demand forecasting, methods of demand forecasting, supply analysis, determinants of supply, supply function and law of supply. Then the next one is what is the meaning of demand forecasting? The meaning of demand forecasting means it expectation about the future course of the market demand for product. Demand forecasting is essentially reasonable judgment of future probabilities of the future demand. It cannot be 100% precious. A forecasting is a prediction or estimation of future situation under given conditions. Next, demand estimation. It tries to find out or find our expectation on present sales level given the present state of demand determinants. So that is the meaning of demand forecasting. For examination point of view, very important. They ask about what is the definition of demand forecasting. Demand forecasting, it is a expectation about the future course of the market demand for product, and it is essentially reasonable judgment of future probabilities of the future demand. It cannot be 100% precious. Then need for demand forecasting. Need for demand forecasting is, first one is planning and scheduling production. Second one is acquiring inputs. Third one, making provisions for finances. Fourth one, formulating pricing strategy. Fifth one, planning advertisement. Planning and scheduling production. Second one, acquiring the inputs. Making provision for finances. Formulating pricing strategy. Fifth one, planning advertisement. Next, what are the characteristics of a good demand forecasting? Accuracy, simplicity, economy, timeliness, availability. Accuracy, simplicity, economy, timeliness, availability. These are the characteristics. Accuracy means whatever they are forecasting, the demand forecasting, it should be an accurate. Then it should be in a simple and systematic manner. Then the economy, it should run through the economy. Then timeliness, availability of the resources. What are that? Manpower, machinery, material, all these are the resources are essential. Then what are the steps involved in the demand forecasting? The steps involved in the demand forecasting is specifying the objective, determining the time perspective, choices of methods for demand forecasting, collection of data and data adjustments, estimation and interpretation of results. These are the steps in demand forecasting. Steps in demand forecasting is specifying the objective, determining the time perspective. Third one, choices of methods for demand forecasting. Fourth one, collection of data and data adjustments. Estimation and interpretation of results. These are the steps in demand forecasting. Next, methods of demand forecasting. The demand forecasting methods we classified into the three types: survey methods, statistical methods, other methods. Survey methods we divided into two methods. What are that? survey of buyer's intention, survey of sales force. Survey of buyer intention, survey of sales force. Again, survey of buyer's intention we divided into two types. What are that? Survey of census method and sample method. Census method and sample method. Then statistical method. Statistical method is trend projection method, barometric method, simultaneous equation method, correlation and regression method. Correlation and regression method. Fourth one, other methods. Expert opinion method, test marketing, controlled experiments, judgmental approach. Expert opinion method, test marketing, controlled experiments, judgmental approach. For examination point of view, for 5 marks question, very important, and they are asking short answer questions, especially for census method, sample method, statistical methods, and test marketing. These are the questions frequently they are asking the short answer questions. Next one is, we go through the individually, one by one, survey methods. Survey of buyer's intention. Survey of buyer's intention. The consumers are contacted personally to disclose their purchase plans. The consumers are contacted personally to disclose their future purchase plans. That is the buyer's intention. These buyer's intention we classified into the two types, census method and sample method. What is the meaning of census method? All consumers are contacted to know their preferences for the products in future. To know the preferences for the products in future. Sample method. A sample of consumers is selected for interview. That means here they are taking the limited members in the sample method, whereas in the census method we are taking the all consumers are contacted and to know their preferences for the products in future. Generally, the census method is used in the population studies. That means gender, to knowing the gender status position, to know the literacy, to know the how many adult aged people, how many old age people, how many children are there. The census method is used. Next, the second method is survey of sales force. Survey of sales force. The company elicits the opinion of its sales force regarding the future demand for the product, given an outline of its futures and prices. The company elicits of the opinion of its sales force regarding the future demand for the product, given an outline of its futures and prices. That is the survey of sales force. Next one is collective opinion method. The survey of sales force, how many types we classified? We classified into the two types. What are that? One is the collective opinion method. Second one is the Delphi technique method. So we go through the one by one individually. So first we go through the collective opinion method. Collective opinion method. This method is also known as sales force opinion or sales force polling method or reaction survey method. This method is also known as sales force opinion or sales force polling or reaction survey method. Then under this method, the responsibility for estimating the expected sales is placed on salesmen. Next, salesmen being closest to the consumers have the knowledge of the requirements of the consumers, their reactions to the product. Then these estimates of individual salesmen are consolidated to find out the total estimated sales. So collective opinion method, we can call it as a sales force opinion method, sales force polling or reaction survey method. In this method, the responsibility for estimating the expected sales is placed on salesmen. Salesmen, being closest to the consumers, have the knowledge of the requirements of the consumers and their reactions to the products. These estimates of individual salesmen are consolidated to find out the total estimated sales. That is the collective opinion method. Then next one is advantages of collective opinion method. This method is very simple and easy to be used. This method is very simple and easy to be used. It involves minimum of statistical work and hence does not require any technical expertise. So just knowing the statistical concepts does not require any technical expertise in this particular field. This method is very simple and easy to be used. It does not cost much. It does not cost much. It is realistic because it is based on personal and first-hand knowledge of salesmen. That means it is collecting the first-hand information through salesmen. Then it is a realistic because it is involved personally and collecting the information and estimating the demand about that particular product. So it should not require any technical expertise and not taking cost much. Then it is useful in forecasting the sales of new products. Which type of products it will be more useful? It will be more useful for the new products. It will be more useful for the new products. So first we should know what is the meaning of collective opinion method. The collective opinion method is sales force opinion, sales force polling, reaction survey method. In this method, responsibility for estimating the expected sales is placed on salesmen. Salesmen, being closest to the consumers, have the knowledge of the requirements of the consumers, their reactions to the product. These estimates of individual salesmen are consolidated to find out the total estimated sales. Advantages of collective opinion method. This method is also known as sales force opinion or sales force polling or reaction survey method. Under this method, the responsibility for estimating the expected sales is placed on salesmen. Salesmen, being closest to the consumers, have the knowledge of the requirements of the consumers, their reactions to the product. These estimates of individual salesmen are consolidated to find out the total estimated sales. Collective opinion method. Then the next one is Delphi technique. For examination point of view, for short answer question, very, very important. So what are the steps involved in the Delphi technique method? The steps involved in the Delphi technique method is select a panel of experts. First you should select a panel of experts. Then the second step is create a questionnaire of open-ended questions. Open-ended means yes or no. Yes or no, open-ended question. Open-ended questions. Create a questionnaire of open-ended questions. Very, very important. Please remember, open-ended means two. A, yes and B, no questions. Yes or no questions. Then third one is, after that, compiling and summarizing expert responses into written report. First one is selecting the panel of experts. Second one is creating the questionnaire of open-ended questions. Third one is compile and summarize expert responses into written report. Fourth one, experts list their reasons agreeing, disagreeing with report. Then repeat steps 3 and 4 until consensus is reached. reached. Then what are the applications of the Delphi method? Where it is used? The applications of Delphi method. First applications of the Delphi method were in the field of science and technology forecasting. The objective of the method was to combine expert opinions on likelihood and expected development time of the particular technology in a single indicator. So first application, the Delphi method was used in the science and technology forecasting. The objective of the method is to combine expert opinions on likelihood and expected development time of the particular technology in a single indicator. Next, second point is, later the Delphi method was applied in other areas, especially those related to public policy issues such as economic trends, health and education. It was also applied successfully and with high accuracy in business forecasting. Next one is the Delphi method. The Delphi method has also been used as a tool to implement multi-stakeholder approaches for participative policy making in developing countries. Policy making in developing countries. So the Delphi method has also been used as a tool to implement the multiple stakeholder approaches for participative policy making in developing countries. So where it is used? It is used in the science and technology, it is used in the public policy issues, it is used in the economic trends, and used in the health and education, and implementing in the multiple stakeholders approaches. The Delphi method is used. What is the meaning of Delphi? To framing or to selecting a panel of experts and creating a questionnaire, and that also open-ended question. After that, compile and summarizing expert responses into a written report. Then experts list their reasons agreeing and disagreeing with the reports, and the compelling step and experts reason step continuously repeating until it reaches to the consensus. Consensus means to come down to the agreement or to come to the similar opinion for all the experts or members. Then the next method. So the first method, what we discussed about the survey methods. In the survey methods, what we discussed? Survey of buyer's intention, survey of sales force. Survey of buyer's intention, again we divided into census method and sample method. So survey, census method and sample method. Now we are discussing about the statistical methods or statistical techniques. Statistical techniques is, how many types we divided? We divided into 4 types. What are that? One is trend projection method, second one is barometric technique, third one is simultaneous equation method, fourth one correlation and regression method. Once again I am reading statistical techniques. Please go through it. Please go through the chart. Trend projection method, barometric technique, simultaneous equation method and correlation regression method. For examination point of view, for these 4 statistical techniques are very important for short answer questions. So first one is the trend projection method. What is the meaning of trend projection method? The meaning of trend projection method is, it is based on analysis of past sales patterns. This method dispenses with the need for costly market research because the necessary information is often already available in the company. That means last 5 months data to determining. So trend projection method is an analysis of past sales patterns. This method dispenses with the need for costly market research because the necessary information is often already available in the company. Second one is, so trend projection means what we are taking last 5 months data to determine. Second method is barometric technique. Barometric technique means one set of data is used to predict another set. A relevant indicator is used as a barometer for future demand. So that means on the basis of the one set of data, we are using the another set. That is the barometric technique. Next, third one is simultaneous equation method. Simultaneous equation method is all the variables are simultaneously considered, as it is assumed that every variable influences the other variables in an economic environment. All the variables are simultaneously considered, as it is assumed that every variable influences the other variables in an economic environment. Next, fourth one is correlation and regression method. For examination point of view, very, very important, which speak about the nature of relationship and extent of relationship respectively between two given variables. One is dependent and other one is independent. So what is the meaning of correlation? Correlation means on the basis of the two variables, if one variable changes, how it will be affected to the other variable, that we called it as a correlation. Correlation is we are on the base interdependent. Which one is the dependent and another one is the interdependent. Regression method means on the basis of one variable, we are estimating the another variable, that we called it as the regression method. Example of the regression method is, so on the basis of the monsoon conditions, the Department of Agriculture estimating the agriculture productivity, or on the basis of the children's statistical data, how many schools are required or how many hospitals are required in future, they are estimating on the basis of the regression method. So correlation and regression method means it extends the relationship respectively between two given variables. One is the dependent and another one is the independent. So these are the four statistical techniques. What are that four statistical techniques? Four statistical techniques is trend projection method, barometric technique method, simultaneous equation method, and correlation and regression method. Correlation and regression method. Then other methods. The other methods are, again we divided into four types. What are that? Expert to opinion method, test marketing, controlled experiments, judgment approach. Expert to opinion method, test marketing, controlled experiments, judgment approach. Expert to opinion method means an expert who is associated with the insights of that particular industry as a whole, invited to suggest about the future of particular product or services. That is the expert opinion. Expert opinion. Expert opinion means the expert is associated with that particular insights of that industry and giving some suggestions about that particular future of a particular product or services. Then test marketing. For examination point of view, for short answer questions, this is very, very important. Releasing the product on a test basis in a well-chosen, limited but representative market. Releasing the product on a test basis in a well-chosen, limited but representative market. That is called the test marketing. Test marketing means where it is used. Generally, it is used in the two-wheelers or four-wheelers, because for riding the test and getting the conclusion about that particular product or services. Generally it is used in the test marketing, is used in the automobile industries. Then third one is controlled experiments. The company can experiment different homogeneous markets, releasing its product with different types of appeal as different prices, packaging, models and so on. The controlled experiments is the company can experiment different homogeneous markets and releasing its product with different types of appeal as different prices, packaging, models and so on. Then fourth one is judgment approach. What is the meaning of judgment approach? To use one's judgment where none of the methods are suitable to assess the demand for particular product or services. It may not be suitable for expert opinion, test marketing or controlled experiments. Then we are taking only the judgment approach method. So these are the other method to estimating the demand forecasting. So what we learned from the demand forecasting, we learned about the demand forecasting methods is 3 methods. What are that? Survey method, statistical method and other method. Survey method, how many types we divided? We divided 2 types. What are that? Survey of buyer's intention, survey of sales force. Again, survey of buyer's intention we divided into 2 types. One is the census method and another one is the sample method. Second one is statistical methods. The statistical methods again we classified into the 4 types. What are that? Trend projection method, barometric method, simultaneous equation method, correlation and regression method. Other methods, expert to opinion, text marketing, controlled experiments and judgmental approach. So my dear students, try to remember this particular chart. It will be more useful for examination point of view for 5 marks question as well as short answer questions. So please remember the methods of demand forecasting chart. Then it will be more useful for examination point of view. So up to now we discussed about the demand forecasting. Demand forecasting. What we discussed? Demand forecasting, need for demand forecasting. Then what are the characteristics of good demand forecasting? Then we discussed about the methods of demand forecasting. Again we discussed about the 3 types, survey method, statistical method and other methods we discussed. So up to now demand concepts are over. Now we should go through another topic is supply. What is the meaning of supply? These are the interrelated terms, demand and supply, because these are the 2 major elements influencing in the operational or in the business economy, the business economics. So we studied about the definition of demand. Now we are studying about the definition of supply. What is the meaning of, what is the definition of supply? It is defined as the ability and willingness to sell or produce a particular product and services in a given period of time at a particular price. Then ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means other things remaining constant. So supply is defined as what are the factors? Ability, willingness and to sell. Whereas demand is ability, desire, willingness and ability to pay. Please try to remember the difference between demand and supply. Demand is desire, willingness and ability to pay. Here ability to pay, willingness and to sell and to produce a given product period of time at a particular price. Price is also very important. Why? Because who is regulating the supply? Supply is regulating the producer. Then the ceteris paribus. In the demand definition also we are written other things being constant. Other things being constant means price of the other commodity, income, taste and habits are all constant. Like in the supply also, the other things remaining constant. Then what is the supply analysis? The supply analysis. What is the so now we discussed about the definition of supply. Then we are analyzing the supply. Is it any relationship between stock and supply? Then what is the meaning of supply? The quantity of stock offered for sale at particular price is called as supply. The quantity of stock offered for sale at a particular price is called supply. Then we should know the meaning of difference between stock and supply. Is it similar or is it different? We should know. Then I am giving the one example. Difference between stock and supply. A farmer has 100 kg of rice. The price is rupees 40 per kg. Per kg 40 rupees. He has offered 60 kg for sale at this rate. So at the price of 40, how much quantity is ready to sell? 60 kg. Then the stock is 100 kg. So total quantity is stock. How much? 100 kg. And supply is 60 kg. So what we concluded from this example? We concluded from this example is supply is less than or equal to stock. Supply is less than or equal to stock. Supply cannot be more than stock. Supply cannot be more than stock. So now we are clearly understood. Supply is the part of the stock. Supply is always less than the stock and it cannot be more than the stock. It cannot be more than the stock. Then the supply during a given period of time, it means the quantity of goods which are offered for sale at a particular price. So supply during given period of time at point of time and goods which are offered for sale at a particular prices. Supply is what seller is able and willing to offer for sale. Supply is what seller is able and willing to offer for sale. Supply and stock are related but distinct terms. These are not similar terms. These are the distinct terms. Supply comes out of stock. Supply comes out of stock. Stock. What is the stock determines? Stock determines the potential supply. Stock determines the potential supply. Stock is outcome of production. Stock is outcome of production. Then what are the determinants of supply? The determinants of supply we are written in the form of a table and the examples. What are the determinants? Change in resource person, change in resource prices, change in technology, change in taxes and subsidies, changes in prices of other goods, change in producer expectations, change in the number of suppliers. So these are the determinants. How many determinants? 6 determinants. What are that? Change in resource prices, change in technology, change in taxes and subsidies, change in prices of other goods, change in producer expectations, change in the number of suppliers. Then we should go for each and every determinant with a suitable example. So first one is change in resource prices. A decrease in the price of microchips increases in the supply of computers. When the microchip price is decreasing, the supply of the computers is increasing. And another example is the price of the crude oil reduces, the supply of gasoline is increases. The price of crude oil reduces, the supply of gasoline increases. Second one is change in technology. The development of more effective wireless technology increases the supply of cell phones. The development of more effective wireless technology increases the supply of cell phones is increases. Change in taxes and subsidies. Increase in the excise tax on cigarettes reduces the supply of cigarettes. Decline in subsidies to the state universities reduces the supply of higher education. Reduces the supply of higher education. Next one, change in prices of other goods. An increase in the price of cucumbers decreases the supply of watermelons. An increase in the price of cucumbers decreases the supply of watermelons. Change in prices of other goods. Then change in producer expectations. What are the producer expectations? So producer expectation is substantial rise in future log prices and decreases the supply of logs today. Decreases the supply of logs today. Then change in the number of suppliers and increase in the number of tattoo parlors increases the supply of tattoos, or the formation of women's professional basketball is leagues increases the supply of women's professional basketballs reduced. So these are the determinants of supply: change in resources price, change in technology, change in taxes and subsidies, change in prices of other goods, change in producer and expectations, change in the number of suppliers. These are the determinants of supply. Then the next one is the supply function. So we should compare with the demand function and supply function. An equation representing the supply curve is Qx equal to f of Px PR WH. What is the Qxs indicates? Quantity supplied of good X. Quantity supplied of good X. Then Px price of good X. PR price of a production substitute. Price of a production substitute. Price of production substitute. W price of inputs. Price of inputs. H other variable affecting supply. H other variable affecting supply. Other variable affecting supply. This is the supply function. So what is the demand function? Dx equal to f of P naught y T. P means price, price of other commodity, income and taste and habits. Then law of supply. Law of supply, what it states? It states that there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. It is a positive relationship. Whereas demand is a law of demand is inverse relationship. Here is positive relationship. So in the demand curve is sloping downwards from left to right. Here, if the price goes up, the quantity supplied goes up. If the price goes down, the quantity supplied goes down. So that means it is totally reverse to the demand, law of demand, the law of supply. Then we should prove the supply curve moving upwards from left to right, whereas the demand curve is moving downwards from left to right. Then supply schedule, how it will be influenced the supply curve. This particular table, the supply schedule and the supply curve clearly indicates that what is the supply curve for soda. Here we are taking the example is quantity and price. Quantity and price. If the quantity increases, then what is the impact on the price? The quantity increases and as well as the price of the product is increases, then it is a positive relationship. The curve is moving upwards from left to right. Then Again, we should prove the individual supply schedule and market supply schedule. In the individual supply schedule, what we are taking? We are taking the single producer or a firm, how it will be influencing at the different prices during a given period. Then we are written in the form of a table, price of that particular product and how much quantity supplied. If the price of the product is increases from 10 rupees to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, the quantity of supply is also increases in the same proportionate from 25 to 35, 45, 55. So that means it is a positive relationship. Then from this particular table, what we are concluded that individual producer or a firm would offer for sale at different prices during a given period. Then market supply schedule and market supply curve. Then what is the difference between individual demand and individual supply and market supply? Individual supply, we are taking only the one producer or one firm, but whereas in the market supply, we are taking the different types of suppliers, and what is the overall aggregate supply about that particular product. That we can also call it as market supply about that particular product. When the price of the product increases from 100 rupees to 200, 200 to 300, 300 to 400, the market demand and as well as the individual supply is also increased, then the total market supply is also increased. The market supply is increased. What is the market supply? In the A supplier is earlier purchased 750, now he purchased 800, then 900, 1000. Then B supplier also purchased more and more quantity. Then C supplier also. So then what is the conclusion about these three types of suppliers? When the price of product is increases, each and individual supplier or group of suppliers are supplying the more and more, the market supply is increased. From 1700 to 2600 it reaches 1700, 1950, 2300 and 2600. Then market supply curve also represents the direct relationship between the quantity supplied and price of a product. This is a positive relationship, whereas the demand is the inverse relationship. Now we concluded that what is the difference between demand and supply. For 5 marks question, several times they asked about the distinguish between demand concept and supply concept. So in this particular chapter, what you learned? You learned about the elasticity, demand and supply. Now, what is the difference between demand and supply? The demand and supply, what is the meaning of demand? Demand is the desire of a buyer and his ability to pay for a particular commodity at a specific price. Whereas the supply is the quantity of a commodity which is made available by the producers to its consumers at a certain price. What is the curve shape of the demand? The curve shape of the demand curve is downward sloping. What is the curve shape of the supply? Upward sloping. This is the second differentiation. Then what is the third differentiation? What is the interrelationship between demand and supply? When demand increases, supply decreases. It is a inverse relationship. Whereas in the supply, when supply increases, demand decreases. It is inverse relationship. Effect of variations. Demand increases with the supply remaining the same leads to shortage, while demand decreases with the supply remaining the same leads to surplus. Demand increases with the supply remaining the same leads to shortage, while demand decreases with the supply remaining the same leads to surplus. Supply increases with the demand remaining the same leads to surplus, while supply decreases with the demand remaining the same leads to shortage. Supply increases with the demand remaining the same leads to surplus, while supply decreases with the demand remaining the same leads to shortage. Impact of price. With an increase in price, the demand decreases and vice versa. With an increase in price, the demand decreasing and vice versa. Supply increases along with the increase in price. Supply increases along with the increase in price. So it has a direct relationship. Then who represents what? Demand represents the consumers. Then the supply represents the firm. Demand represents the consumer. Supply represents the firm. So my dear students, they clearly understood the distinguish between the demand and supply. What are the variables we are taking? What is the meaning of demand and supply? What is the curve shape of the demand and supply? What is the interrelationship between demand and supply? Effect of variations. Then impact of price. Then who represents what? Demand and supply. So my dear students, today the topic is over demand and supply. Then what we concluded from this particular session? Is what we discussed, demand forecasting. So we discussed about the definition of demand forecasting, need for demand forecasting, and what are the characteristics of good demand forecasting. Then methods of demand forecasting. Again we divided into three types: survey methods, statistical methods, and other methods. In these methods we discussed about the census method, Salesforce method. Then in this method we discussed about the statistical method. What is that? Trend projection method, barometric technique method, simultaneous equation method, correlation and regression method. Then other methods we discussed. What are that? Expert to opinion, test to marketing, controlled experiments, and judgmental approach. So these are the demand forecasting methods we have discussed. Then we discussed about the supply. What is the meaning of supply? What is the relationship between demand and supply? Is there same relation or inverse relation? Demand is the inverse relation, supply is the positive relation. What is the curve shape? Demand sloping downwards, sloping upwards. Then who is the ultimate? With represent to the what? Demand represents the consumers, whereas supply represents the firm. Then what are the determinants of the supply? Then what is the supply function? What is the supply schedule curve? And we proved through the individual supply curve and market supply curve. My dear students, for examination point of view, this particular topic more useful, and you please go through the each and every slide in a systematic manner. Then clearly you understood the concepts, and it will be more useful to understand the concepts and analyzing each and every concept with graphical representation, with suitable diagrams, with suitable tables and examples. So please, my dear students, go through this each and every slide with systematically. Thank you, my dear students.